So far, there's no problem with the netted around anything that's happening. So
Let's just
last we
lay
saw,
that up there with the dog. And then
Florida had the knife in her hand.
this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No.
Actually, maybe you.
Pick it up with you.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we're ready, Angie.
You know, when we lived in the heads of the hollers, well, people in them days we didn't have toys, so the children would make all sorts of toys, and they'd take the things that like garbage, like people throws away today. People would, us children would take them, and we was glad to get them, and we would go out, and the little boys they'd take matchboxes, which I'm using this box here. It's not a matchbox, but it can be used for the same. You know, use it the same way. And so the boys would get in one end of their building and play, you know, and then the girls in the other. And here's the way they do: they put these little things together like this, and I reckon that's right. And then they'd scoop this up like this, and they'd make to make it look like a truck. You see, the top of it like that.
Make a flaps look like a door.
Yeah, that's right. And you see in the back here, when it was a matchbox in the back, why, the little children get over in the corner, and maybe on Friday night, no, Thursday night, the people would shell them a turn, you know, a turn. They'd take this corn and shell it, and when the adults would be shelling the corn, they'd pitch the cobs over in the corner. Well, the little boys would sit there, and they'd have a little matchbox like this, and they'd take their cobs and lay it like it's hauling logs, and you'd hear them start it out going boom, 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 doot, 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 doot. They'd pass each other, you know, and they'd have a real good time with these just plain boxes like that, you know. And well, these days and times, old people they have all sorts of toys, but now back in them days they didn't have any. And they'd teach their children Santa Claus, you know, in them days. Everybody, well, you'd see children sometimes 12-year-old believing in Santa Claus, but I was a great big girl before I know there wasn't any Santa Claus. And boy, I'll tell you, it's the worst letdown there was. But each year as it go by, why, when Christmas would roll around, why, you see, I was thinking that Santa Claus would bring me something, and I was disappointed every year. But I think people in raising children should go back and not teach them about Santa Claus. Teach them the true meaning of Christmas, and that way the children, they don't get disappointed. And about the only poems in them days that we know about Christmas was when I was real small. I couldn't talk plain, and they had me in a play, and I'd get up and say, Christmas comes but once a year, cold hog's head and a possum's ear, because that's just about what most of the people would have for their Christmas dinner. If they had a possum, you know, they'd go possum hunting. If they got them some possums, they would really call that a good meal, you know. But these days, you know, people don't eat animals like they used to did, but possum was something that we'd get out and hunt, and we eat them in them days. And we eat the meat, and then we would put the hide on a board and put it up in the barn to dry, and we'd sell the hides, you know, in
What
them
would they
days.
do with possum hides?
They sold them. Elijah Warnes used to live down here on Caney. He used to buy them off of people, and we'd save the hides and sell them to Elijah, you know.
Would girls have any toys they'd make?
Yeah, they had a lot of toys that they'd make in them days. They now the girls, they didn't have any dolls. Now there's a lot of people had dolls, I guess. But what we'd do, we'd take a rag, just plain little old rags, and bundle of rags and tie them together. You know, when I was a little girl, I never had a doll till I was about 50-some years old. First doll I ever had, and my baby daughter bought it. And we'd roll this up like that and tie a string around it. And after we'd tie a string around it, we'd take a charcoal, you know, where we burn wood, and we'd draw eyes and nose and a mouth here, and nose, eyes, maybe a little hair here, like that. And you see, and after we draw that, we would take a little rag, just something like this, and it'd be sometimes these is fancy rags according to the way sometimes we lived. We'd roll these up like this, and then we'd we was proud of them, you know. We'd get out and sit down on a little rock chair, you know, where we'd have. And, well, us little children, we couldn't talk plain in them days. And I guess this is the way we'd sing. Let's see now. Den my toe, my table died to thee. Agüita, agüita. And we'd sing to these little rags, and we was proud of them. And when it come night, we made sure that we brought these little dolls and matchboxes in where it was dry, you know. We really enjoyed them. So you see how pretty they are. What else you want me to go for?
When was the first store-bought baby doll you ever saw?
Well, I was a great big girl, the first doll I ever seen. I guess, I don't know, maybe I was 10 or 12 years old, I guess, because back in them days, you see, we lived a long distance from each other. And, well, we had to work hard, and you know, people didn't visit like they did, you know, where you lived way in the head of the holler like that, you know, and our roads in them days was right in the middle of the creek. These days we have roads, and then when you start down the road, why, each person that owned the little land, they had a fence around it across your road, so you'd have to open up your gate and go through a bunch of hogs, and then you'd open up your gate and go through a bunch of cattle, and then you'd have to go through a bunch of goats, sheep, and then you'd have to even go through where mules would be kicking at you. And where we lived up in there, why, the woman from Hyman come to see why we wasn't going to school, and she went through the first gate, and a bunch of horses run her and kicked her, and she run out of her shoes. She went through goats, and they was after her. She went through a big bunch of hogs, and they was hollering, bush, bush. And when they hollered, bush, bush, you better climb a tree, because if you didn't climb a tree, them big hogs would really hurt you. And so, time she got up there, why, she hired one of my oldest brothers to take her out of the holler, and she said, well, I ain't going to ask why you kids don't go to school. She said, now I know it. And so, but, you know, that's still, we just didn't get the education today. Back then, you know, some people did. Now, it wasn't all people. It's just some people, they just didn't get education, and I just happened to be one of them.
So you didn't go to school?
Not much. I'd go maybe a couple of days a year or something like that.
And the hogs ain't
Right.
chasing you.
No, honey, they chased us. They really did. And we'd go down there. I always told people that I changed books 3 times. They come far and burn our schoolhouse down. They gave me a new primer, and then it come a flood once and washed them away, and they gave me a new one then. That's the way I always, you know, joke about it, you know.
You boys like living up here, Trace?
Yeah.
Good. What do you like best about it? Hmm?
I believe Timothy likes his garden.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does your mama tell y'all stories at home? You don't hear much stories?
Well, most time these days they don't tell me stories because they have TV and
She
things.
may be dead, but we don't remember.
Well, you see, children anymore, they watch TV and everything. They don't never tell stories like they used to did. And that's why. You see, people
TV
used to.
takes place.
Yeah. And like we used to gather around and do stuff like this or play games. The children used to come and up to my house, you know, there's a whole bunch of kids used to gather there all the time to play fiddle-dee, fiddle-dee, I see something you don't see. And we'd have this game going. And we'd pick something out in the room, and all of us would play till, well, we'd play just about all night. And it was a real good game, just everybody, you know, and the one that guessed what that would see, you know, you'd pick out something in the room and you'd describe it to colors and, you know, and
We do
everything.
that right now.
Yeah, I guess, would you?
Yeah.
Which one wants to go first? Which one?
You volunteer.
You go first then. Just pick out anything in the room and just tell us what color it is. And
Blue, brown,
blue,
checkered,
brown, checkered.
black.
That sort of sounds like Anthony's shirt. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, you want to go? Which one of the others? Did it make any difference?
My turn.
Okay.
Fiddly, fiddly.
Both say fiddly, fiddly. I see something you don't see.
Fiddly, fiddly. I see something you don't see.
What color is it?
Blue.
Blue. Oh, blue, 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 blue. Is it flared? It could be
No.
your shirt.
No.
Is it his shirt?
No.
Is it his shirt, the blue places?
No.
Papa's shirt?
No, that's white.
Oh, that's a light blue. Let's see. Mommy's pants?
No. Silly.
Well, you guess. Blue.
Coat.
What coat? Blue jay.
That bird on there? Oh,
No.
No. Well, I've give up myself. Have you boys give up? Now they've give up too. What is it?
Some leaves outside.
Leaves.
Okay, now you guess.
Oh, I'll just let you boys play.
Okay.
You let him. You do. it.
Fiddly.
Fiddly, fiddly. See if you can guess what I say.
Now you said that correctly, isn't it? It's beautiful the way you said that.
Describe it.
What color is it?
Sort of light red.
Chair.
No.
Wouldn't be that
Papa's shirt.
pot holder over there?
Yeah.
That what it was?
Can I get it?
Well, is that enough to play on this game? Well,
My turn.
I'm through if you're, unless you've got something you think of.
Yeah, we'll see. Was that?
Let's see.
Do you have a favorite story? Either of you?
you do.
Do you, Timothy?
Not none I know of.
You don't know the
What
story?
about you, Jibble? Do you have a favorite story?
Mama told it to me.
What is it?
Mom, remember that one where she Emma woke up and she saw all those birds going outside.
Oh. Yeah. Do you ever make up stories?
No.
What do you make up stories about?
Fat birds and all that.
Do you remember any of them?
What about?
You do. How about you? Do you know any? You do.
When you go to bed at night, do you ever make up stories till you go to sleep?
I fall asleep too fast.
Do you? I used to make it. Do you, Walter? I used to make up stories a lot once before I went to sleep.
Sometimes, it's a good time to make up stories. You lay there and think of them. I have made up songs and lay there and I couldn't go to sleep. I could hear myself singing them.
Where do those songs come from?
I just don't know. It's hard for me to figure that out. I always, just some way or another, seem like God gives them to me is what I think. I just don't know. I feel good. Like a song I put together. Now, a lot of people, they say, well, you ask somebody how they like their songs, and they say, well, they like this song or that. But when you're singing and you're singing in the glory of God, you have the Spirit of the Lord now, you can really sing good. You feel good at singing, what if doing good or not. So I don't know, I think it's a gift that God gives you. Poems and all kinds of poems, just like that I made up about the boys. You're just a little angel. Well, you see, a lot of people, they just don't realize how precious they are until they get grown and leave you.
Gosh.
But I used to sing it. And Clovis, that was his favorite song. He used to come around and ask me to sing it.
Florida, what do you think? Why are stories important to people? What are they good for?
I think they're awful good. There's a lot of true meaning in stories. And there's a lot of good true meaning in songs, too. A message. You go to church and you can hear a real good song, and that real good song is just about as pretty. It is pretty as hearing a preacher. And in these songs is a message. And when you bring a message to someone, if it's something that's good and you know it's going to be felt in the souls of people, then you feel rejoiced yourself. It's good. You feel good at it. And that's the blessing I get from just making up any kind of songs. I get that feeling, you know, inside, you know.
Why do you think people tell stories to each other?
I think it's just a lot of them, they bring good messages to you. And like I sit down and tell stories now, like to all these little boys here. And I think a lot of them stories has got some good meanings to them. You know.
Sometimes people get bored that they want to sing to themselves.
Right. And I do that a lot, sing to myself.
No, don't make banjos and that.
Yeah, yeah. I wish you boys would get interested in music and someday and get you a guitar or banjo. And Austin always said, now you all Thomases, you have to learn to play music. And you got you a good house out there and practice. It would be good, you
Do
know.
y'all sing? Mm-mm. Do you, Timothy?
No.
Now then, what's your favorite song to sing? Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Gosh.
You're talking about favorite Christmas songs. It's been years ago. I don't know how many years. My favorite song at Christmas time, and it always, for Christmas, it always would repeat in my mind, and I'd sing it to myself, even if I didn't sing it loud, was a happy birthday song I made to Jesus. And this is an old song, but you know, it's been a long time. Would you want me to sing it now? Let's see. Happy birthday, Jesus. Happy birthday to you. May the angels in heaven sing. Happy birthday to you. Jesus is the greatest of heaven and earth. Thank God for Jesus' birth. Happy birthday, Jesus. Happy birthday to you. May the angels in heaven sing. Happy birthday to you. I don't know if I done all that good on that.